Advocate Liron from Israel. Advocates, I'm sure you are hearing us, you are watching us. Good afternoon to you. We also have got Dr. Abiola from Nigeria, who is going to be presenting to us as well. Dr. Abiola, welcome. Good afternoon to you. Lastly, we are going to have our good friend, Mr. Tolga from Istanbul. Good afternoon, Mr. Tolga. Welcome. Thank you for being patient and for waiting. Thank you so much. Right now, if you do not mind, our virtual speakers, we'll start with Dr. Ndagijimana to give a presentation, then we can come to you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Ndagijimana.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. Muraho neza. Buriya rero uzi kuvura indwara utareba utari bubwire umuntu ngo ngaha aho nakomeretse ntunkoreho utantoneka. Uzi kuvura igikomere cyitwa igikomere kandi nta maraso abantu bareba. Uzi indwara utari bubwira abantu ngo ndwaye malaria cyangwa se indi ndwara biri bworohe kuyisobanura, ikintu uri buvuge bikarangira batazigera banamenya ko wakize. Uzi yuko hari n'igihe utinya kubivuga kubera yuko uvuga uti nyuma yuko batekereje yuko ndwaye, ese ni gute nzabemeza yuko ndi muzima? Kandi ko gutekereza ko ndwaye bituma hari amahirwe bimvutsa. Muri rwa rungano n'abandi iyo batwika bazatekereza ko njyewe ari uko nacanganyikiwe. Ariko hari amateka menshi biturukamo. Icyo nashatse kugira ngo tuganire uyu munsi ni uburyo ngira ngo batubanjirije kare bigeze kuganira batariko uko ubuzima bwo mu mutwe, serivisi z'ubuzima bwo mu mutwe bwubatswe harimo ikibazo. Reka mbabwire, ndi gukora ubushakashatsi mu 2018. Nakoze ubushakashatsi ndagenda njya mu kigo cy'ishuri. Ndababwira ntariko rero ni urubyiruko barangije bari mu mashuri yisumbuye icyo gihe. Ndababwira nti rero maze imyaka nkora ibijyanye n'ubuzima bwo mu mutwe no gukora counseling n'ibindi bikorwa byo kugira ngo abantu bavure ibikomere. Umuntu nabimubwira akambwira ati ariko ntago ndi buze ku ivuriro, twahurira ahantu nkakubwira ikibazo mfite, tugahurira nk'ahantu tugasangira icyayi. Yatinye kujya kwa muganga. Ese twabivugira kuri telefone aho kugira ngo tubonane, kuko atekereza ati kugira ngo ambone mu maso sindi unabashe kumubwira iki gikomere kindimo, uburyo nasebye, uburyo namwaye, uburyo nananiwe uriya mukobwa, uriya muhungu wankunze ariko nkamukunda nyuma tugashwana, uburyo natakaje amahirwe mu buzima nari nahawe nkaba narayapfushije ubusa. Ibyo ngibyo simbona uwo mpinguka mu maso ngo nabikubwirira kuri telefone. Undi atariko rero ubuse ko kiwacu bifite ubu ndahera he mvuga ko mfite ikibazo? Ntitubuze ibyo turya, ntitubuze mfite n'amafaranga y'ishuri ayo ntiyabuze, sinabuze ibikoresho. Ubwo buriya ntibari bungaye ninjya gushaka ubufasha. Undi atariko rero ubundi se biramfasha bite ko nubundi cyo nkeneye atari amagambo, ko nyo numva bari abantu ngo ibyo bakora na amagambo, nuko kukubwira amagambo. Ubundi ndajyayo bamfasha iki? Amagambo se ndayarya? Hari n'abakoresha iyo mvugo. Amagambo ndayarya. Muraho neza. Buriya rero ikibazo cy'ubuzima bwo mu mutwe bisaba kugira ngo umuntu ubwe abigiremo uruhare. Hari aho twayobye mu tubabarire, hari aho twayobye mu gukora serivisi z'ubuzima bwo mu mutwe. araho twayobye dutangira kubifata, dutangira gukora serivisi, dutangira kubabwira uby'ubuzima bwo mu mutwe mu buryo budashingiye ku byo mukeneye cyangwa se byo dukeneye nk'abanyarwanda cyangwa se nk'abanyafurika. Rimwe na rimwe kuko twabyize nk'abanyaburayi tubyiga byo muri Amerika, rimwe na rimwe tukabizana ngo nimwakire. Rimwe na rimwe mwavuga ati oya ibi ntabwo mbikeneye ntibimfasha, tugatangira kubona yuko ari wowe kibazo. Ni igihe uyu munsi rero nk'uko nabibonye, ni igihe ngo dushimangire, dushingire kuri bya bitekerezo muduha, twubakane cya kintu uvuga uti iyi serivisi muyikoze iyi ngiyi nayisaba, ibi ngibi nabyishimira. Nagiye mu kigo cy'ishuri, byo nababwiraga, nigaga amashuri yanjye icyo gihe nigaga masters muri Amerika. Hanyuma nari maze igihe mvuga nti rwose ngomba kuza, ngarutse mu rugo ngomba gukora igikwiriye. Icyo gihe nje nkora ubushakashatsi, ndavuga nti ibyo nakoze mu myaka yose yashize, nabonaga umuntu rwose ambwira ati rwose wimbabarira ntabwo ndibuze kukureba hariya kwa muganga. None ndababwira nti rero mwarubyiruko mwe ndaje, nimunyigishe, nimumbwire niki cyabafasha. Ubwo twaratangiye ndababwira nti rero ngaho nimumbwire nibihe bibazo biremereye umutima bigushenguye. Iyo niyo ntambwe ya mbere twakoze. Ni ibihe ntambwe ya mbere igushenguye? Mvuga ngo ugiye gusobanura ikintu kigufashe ku mutima, gituma iyo myitwarire uyigira, cya kindi kiguteye isoni, kiguteye ipfunwe mu bandi, gituma uhora ushaka kugira ngo ndebe ko nahisha mu maso, ahari ninywa ngasinda, ahari ninywa ibiyobyabwenge ningirane. Ubundi utwo ko kenshi rimwe na rimwe kandi iyo umuntu akoze ibyo abikora atari uko yiyanze, abikora rimwe na rimwe ari akabando abashije kwitwaza kugira ngo abashe gusinzira. Kubasha kumubaza bati se ako kabando uburya ni hehe hakomeretse hakenera ako kabando ko kunywa ibyo biyobyabwenge cyangwa se ibisindisha, ngo turebe ko twakubonera kandi kabando ukeneye. Ubwo bahereyeho basobanura icyo bakeneye, ikibazo kimeze giti. Etape ya kabiri habaye kubabaza bati icyo kibazo se twagikemura dute? Naratunguwe. Abari banyoboye bari batekereje yuko bari buze kunsaba kubaka clinique. Icyo bansabye barambwiye bati dufashe twubake ahantu tuzororera inkwavu. Ngaho rero mwumva impamvu utangaye. Ariko subira inyuma wumva ibibazo byabajijwe kare. Financial support, kandi turi kuvuga ku buzima bwo mu mutwe. Ntabwo turi muri Amerika muri ya mico yatekereje mental health ku nshuro ya mbere, yatekererezaga ba bantu badafite amakene yibanza ari fondamentale nk'ibiryo, tike yo kugura n'ibyo kugura amakaye. Niyo mpamvu iyo tuvuze ubuzima bwo mu mutwe, imishinga iza. Bamaze kuvuga ibyo, ubwo twaratangiye twubaka icyo kigo cyorora inkwavu. Nyuma araho rero ubwo nari mfite amakigo, ibyo bintu bibafasha bite? Baravuga bati iyo tukoze ibi ngibi ubuze ikaramu turayimugurira. Izo mpagarara nari mfite ziragabanyuka. Turafashanya kandi ubwo icyo ni kimwe, ni mental health iri framed mu buryo isubiza bya bindi. Nuvuga ngo ubundi iyo impamvu aho hamwe twayobeye rimwe na rimwe, nukuvuga ngo hari ikibazo cyaguteye ikibazo. Rimwe na rimwe mental health dufite zimaze igihe zibanda ku ngaruka z'ikibazo, ahubwo ntizihere ku kibazo. Bo bari bavuze bati ikibazo rero hera kuri icyo twubake. Bati rero kimwe mbonye utwo ibyibanze, iyo stress mbonye agakoramo, icyo nta kibazo. Ikindi kandi iyo duhuriye hamwe tukajya kuzahiririza inkwavu, ntabwo nkomeza kugira irungu, ntabwo numva ndi njyenyine. Twubaka ubumwe, bituma uko tumarana igihe kirekire, bituma ndushaho kumwisangamo ku buryo igihe kizagera nkamufungukira, kuko twamaranye igihe twahirana. Umuntu mufatanye akanajoro murakazi, banza ndi kuvugana nabo mu mujyi gusa, nyewe ntomoka mu cyaro. akanaje ka kantu bakata ibyatsi ati kuko ati umuntu mwakasanye ibyatsi umuhereza ati igihe kiragera ati nyuma ya ko twamaze imyaka 3 ati igihe kiragera ukagenda umufungukira buhoro bihoro bikaborohera ati ikindi twakoze twaremye imiryango turavuga tuti rero tuzajya duhinduranya buri cyumweru umwe wowe ubushinzwe gufasha uyashinzwe gufasha uriya undi ku buryo buri muntu aba afite umuntu umubaza ati ese ko ntabonye winjira mu ishuri ese ko nabonye utameze neza ni amahoro. Icyo nshaka kuvuga ni iki? Kugira ngo twubake ubuzima bwo mu mutwe busubize ibibazo byacu tugomba kubaka dushingiye ku bitekerezo, ku buzima, ku muco. Za homegrown solutions bajya bavuga burya bwose zikenewe muri mental health kimwe nuko zikenewe mu zindi ngeri tumaze igihe twumva mu gihugu. Ubwo rero bya bitekerezo mufite bya bintu utekereza ngo iki ngiki gikozwe ibikomere byanjye nakumva bitangiye kugenda bidodwa, ngiki cyadodo ibikomere byanjye. Ibyo bitekerezo mwibigumana. Twigishijwe yuko ibyo bintu ari ibintu by'abadokteri, yuko kuko ndi dokteri ngomba kubabwira ibyo mukeneye mwebwe mukabikora. Ariko ubu ngubu uko twabyumvise uyu munsi nuko twe abo baganga namwe community dukorana, noneho wa wundi tudabashije gufasha tukareba tuti nanone tukareba icyo cyaba ikindi kiganiro ni gute twakubaka clinique ama centre de santé akora mu buryo wa wundi udafashirijwe muri ya groupe ajya hari ahantu kandi akumva atekanye. Aho hantu ho twahahindura dute kandi birashoboka. Ngaho reka dukomeze gufashanya aho muzayamugira mufite ibitekerezo byo kuvuga ngo kuko twakimura ikibazo cyacu mwe kujya mutekereza ngo ni byakemurwa n'abadokteri n'abaganga, ahubwo cya kindi mu Rwanda tumaze imyaka tuvuga nyuma ya jenoside ngo kwishakamwe ibisubizo. Iyo twubakiye kuri iyo framework yo kwishakamwe ibisubizo twishatsemo bisubiza ibibazo dufite. Ntago duhunga bya bisubizo twishatsemo, burya ibisubizo duhunga nibyo twashakiwe n'abandi bakabiprescribinga ngo ibi bisubizo byanyu, ariko ibisubizo wishatsemo ntabwo bihunga ngo ibisi ibyanjye cyangwa se ngo bibe byagutera stigma cyangwa se guhezwa. Dufatanye gushaka no kwishakamwe ibisubizo bisubiza ibibazo duhura nabyo by'ubuzima bwo mu mutwe. Burya nakagahinda karakira. Murakoze cyane.
Murakoze cyane muganga Ndagijimana. Ibibazo bizaba from participants in due time. Allow us now to speak to Advocate Liron from Israel. If she is ready, can she kindly wave her hand so that we can move on to her presentation? Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome, Liron. This is your time to give your presentation. Let me give you a brief background about Liron. Liron is working as the Policy and International Relations Chief Officer at Enosh. Enosh is based in Israel. Liron is involved in advocacy as a lawyer and social worker. So she has done a lot of work in terms of mental health and assisting women in gender-based violence. Over to you, Liron. Thank you and welcome once again.
Hi, thank you. You hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you well. Kindly go ahead.
Okay, and I would love to be able to share my screen so I can show you my presentation, because I'm disabled to do that. But in the meanwhile, I will tell you a little bit about Enosh and about myself. So as you mentioned, my name is Liron, and I'm the Policy and International Relations Chief Officer at Enosh, the Israeli Mental Health Association. We were established in 1978 and providing support and services for people with psychosocial disabilities, mental health issues. Can someone help me with sharing the screen, please? You just need to make me able to do that. It's in the so we are providing variety of services, including rehabilitation in the community. We are doing advocacy and policy work to promote best practices, but also laws and policies on mental health. And we do raise awareness around mental health and fighting the stigma that is associated with mental health problems. Can someone from the tech please help me with sharing the screen?
Please, if there is anyone who is on Zoom, can you log out so that we don't have a feedback from anyone who is on Zoom? It's causing us not to get Leon correctly. Thank you. Anyone who is on Zoom now, can you log out so that we get Leon nicely? Thank you.
I can share the screen. Okay, so can you see the presentation? Okay. So as I mentioned, we are doing variety of services, providing supportive employment services, social services, and recreational, supportive housing. And also we provide support for families of people with mental health issues. Our Headspace Center is a center for youth, and it's an Australian model that we brought to Israel. And we also opened recently Respite Home, which is an alternative to psychiatric hospitalization. People can come there instead of psychiatric hospital and get the support that they need in a very nice and a family way, and not in a big institution. It's in the community, and it's a very interesting model of care. As I mentioned, we also do policy and advocacy in the local and the international level. And our services are funded by the Israeli Ministry of Health. I will dive into some of our person-centered services. We understand that people need all kinds of specific supports for their needs. And in recent years, we moderated some of our rehabilitation services to specific communities.
Liron, can you hear me? Sorry to interject.
With complex PTSD based on sexual trauma, people who are using drugs or addiction, any substance use, and also dealing with mental health. Homelessness, people who experience homelessness, mental health, and addiction, and also services for elderly, because we understand that more and more people become older and they need mental health support. And we also, I don't know if you know Israel, but we are a very diverse country. So we have services for different religious communities, ultra-Orthodox, Ethiopian Jews, Arab communities, and we have some services for young adults. And we see a lot of increase in recent years in young adults that are coming to rehabilitation services. So what do we do around substance use and mental health? We have recovery services for people with addiction. They're supposed to get support on their mental health, but also on their substance use issues. And I'm sharing with you our work model. It's a very holistic approach to the problems of people and addressing their needs. When our major, three principles are integrative approach, person-centered approach, and scalability, that people can go from stage to stage and they don't need to be static. They can, the mental health and the addiction status can be very changing, and they need different supports in each stage. So here you can see some of the components of the rehabilitation. We work on social skills, on supportive housing for the people to understand how to manage their day-to-day, psychiatric consultation, AA and 12 steps as part of the program, case management, EIMR, which is Enhanced Illness Management and Recovery Program, and it's a good practice that is evidence-based on stigma, self-stigma, and how to do the rehabilitation process. We have support for the people family if they need to consult and understand more about the case and what they can do. And we have professional teams that don't only learn mental health, but also addiction, substance use, and mental health. And we engage counselors that are with lived experience also. Here, I want to show you how this model is scalable. You see that there are professional teams that specializes in substance use and mental health all across the services. This is the header. And some of the counselors are with lived experience. We see the needs of people in supportive housing, supportive employment, and social activities. And they can choose between them, and they also can get everything. And in every service, they can the intensiveness of the service is divided by their needs. So some people need a very sheltered employment because they have very basic skills. Some people are working in the free labor market and they only need the rehabilitation support. Some need a very intensive housing program, and some live on their own and just need some support. And around social activities, we have recreation, tours, trips. We have meetings of people that they can share knowledge and lived experience. And we have sports and wellness activities. So all of the services are adapted to the person's needs. And we understand that we can't do a very structured and very demanding program if we want to provide people with opportunities, because their situation is changing every month, every year, and some of them need different supports in different times of their life. Another component of our substance use and mental health division is to provide knowledge and trainings. And we created a few years ago the National Conference for Mental Health and Substance Use. And this is in Hebrew, but you can see the invitations and you can see some of the pictures from the conference. And every year we have more and more professionals and the Ministry of Health that supports, because a lot of people want to learn about this intersection between mental health and substance use, and we are providing this platform for them. I now want to touch a little bit about COVID-19 and how we managed to go through COVID-19 in a successful way, kind of. And I think it's interesting to share with you our safeguarding and emergency preparedness program, which I thought it might be interesting. So I don't know if you know, but in Israel, we have a continuous emergency state. And when we thought a few years ago to prepare for an emergency, what we had in mind is three things: terror attacks and war, earthquakes, and mental health situation, because people that we provide service to, sometimes their mental health situation is an emergency. We didn't think and we didn't imagine a global pandemic, but the fact that we have this basic program really helped us with COVID. So what we did in our emergency program, we said to ourselves, we need to have the team and the people to know first mental health aid is critical, and we want them to be in their homes or in their communities. It's not something that will find them when they are very supported with us. It's something that each and every person should know to do by his own. And how did we do that? We created many tools, emergency and safeguarding strategy, and we did guidelines, trainings, tools, resilience ambassadors in each and every region of Israel. And we created all kind of accommodation to our service users to learn how to be in an emergency situation. So when COVID came, we were already prepared. And you can see here the pictures from the trainings before COVID-19, how they learned to be in a stress situation, how you can manage anxiety, what you do in an earthquake, all kind of stuff like that. So what COVID gave us, it gave us a new emergency situation that we needed to address. And as you might know, the challenges were very large, a lot of loneliness of people, especially people with substance use and mental health issues, physical distancing that was very hard for them, major disruption in their routine, and no access to activities, which was very hard, stress, anxiety, and relapse. And we did some modifications that help us. We did in advance SOS cards and emergency plan to each of our centers and to each of our service users. They knew where they need to go in an emergency. So some of the people had already water and food in their homes while doing lockdowns because they were prepared to an emergency in advance. We moved all our services online to phone and video calls, and we measured that, and people reported that video calls and phone calls were very beneficial for them. We got new supportive communities for people with substance use and mental health created during COVID-19. Flexible solutions such as the in-person when needed, even though it was lockdown, we got some approval for that. And emotional support for the employees because we have more than 1,000 employees in our organization. Here you can see some of our substance use teams bringing food and emergency things to people around Israel. And on the left, you see Ze'ev. He's a member of our service users community, and he was delivering medication to people in his city. And it was very interesting to see how people with lived experience are also volunteering to help the national crisis. So I think COVID-19 gave us a lot of opportunities to grow from local to national because modification to online provided us to create more peer support groups on the national level in each and every of our services, if it's social, peer support, and substance use. The fact that we were applying resilience programs in advance, we did assessment and evaluation all the time, also during COVID-19 to understand how people feel. A knowledge management system that we implemented just before COVID-19, and a lot of agility, flexibility, and discipline of our teams, building group support, and partnerships that were created many, many years ago until today with the local communities and national level, with the parliament, with the government, and other officials. So I hope it was interesting for you, and I'm open for question now or later if you want that. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Liron, for the wonderful presentation. Our apologies because of technical glitches. We couldn't manage to see the presentation, but we heard you well on what you said, and I'm sure those with questions are going to do so. I will not ask a question now, but will give that opportunity to the audience if they have questions after the other two presenters they have presented, because kindly bear with them, they've been waiting for quite a while now. Allow me now to welcome Dr. Abiola from Nigeria. Dr. Abiola, good afternoon to you. Dr. Abiola, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes. Allow me to welcome Dr. Abiola Tajuden. Dr. Abiola is a consultant psychiatrist. He heads forensic psychiatry in the unit of medical psychiatry in Nigeria. And here today, he's going to be giving us a presentation on the cases that he has been working on and other success stories from Nigeria. Over to you, Dr. Abiola. The floor is yours.
Thank you for giving me the floor. But please, if you can enable me to share screen.
Yes, kindly go ahead. The technical team is working on that. Technical team, are we together?
Okay. Let me share my screen.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. I don't know if everyone can see my screen.
Not yet, doctor.
No, thank you. Let me quickly do my presentation within the allotted time. Thank you for having me once again.
Not yet. We are not seeing the screen. Not yet.
Oh, it's displaying here. I hope everyone should be able to see the screen now.
Can you maximize? Right now, we are not seeing the screen.
I've shared the screen.
Technical team, can you raise your hand to show that you're understanding what we are saying? Thank you. Looks like there is a technical small issue. They are working on that, doctor. Just a moment.
Okay. Can you see the screen now?
Unfortunately, not yet. Maybe you can carry on to present in the interest of time as the technical team is working on that. Is that okay with you?
Okay. Can I go ahead then?
Please go ahead, doctor.
Okay, thank you very much for having me once again. I will be speaking on the topic of current challenges of Africa on drug trafficking, impact on drug use. The agenda I hope to cover is just to give us an understanding of traffic drugs in the Africa's regions, sub-regions, and to discuss how the issue of drug trafficking and use in Africa is currently now, what are the challenges we are facing, and what we can do to limit or to reduce the impact of this. First and foremost is to provide an understanding of drug trafficking in Africa. I want to approach it through three prongs. One, what are the categories of drugs being trafficked? Who are the vectors, that is the addiction industries, to say something about them and what they are doing to promote drug trafficking and drug use. And what are the factors in Africa too that is contributing, that seems to be promoting the use of drugs, or the traffic of drug in Africa. About the categories of drug that are usually trafficked, you can group them into three. The naturally produced or processed product like cocaine, cannabis. Cocaine is usually produced in the South America region, while cannabis is homegrown here with us in Africa, while opiate is usually from the Gold Crescent angle. The second category of drug that usually traffic as synthetically produced drug like methamphetamine and amphetamine. In our context, in Africa now, especially in Nigeria, there are many illegal labs that are producing this, and we are already seeing the scourge of this synthetically produced drug of abuse in our region. So in the past, they used to traffic them, but nowadays there are locally available illegal laboratories that produce this and are distributing it across Africa. The other category of drugs that are also of concern are the psychoactive pharmaceutical products. These usually fall into the opioids. Those are the synthetically produced opioids like morphine, tramadol, the fentanyl, and the rest. And these kind of drugs are having their toll also in Africa. Often, most part of Africa don't have a functional pharmaceutical company that can produce this drug. Maybe perhaps in South Africa, but when they are produced there, they are trafficked to other parts of Africa where there is large population and the use keep on going on. The second prong to which I will use for us to provide an understanding about how drug trafficking is in Africa is in terms of the producers, that's the addiction industries. These people are producers and are vectors of drug trafficking, the use, the illness this drug causes, and the related harms that are associated with it. That are associated with it. And the way they do is that they promote, they help to promote the legalization of these products by enticing government that they are going to pay tax. So this view that they will pay tax seems to be enticing to the government, and that is contributing to the legalization move of some drug of abuse, especially the locally grown one like cannabis, which is on the rise. And also part of the challenge of these industries that they've become a scourge on the family because they cause harm to the family, that's the individual using. They also deplete the resources of the family as a result of the individual and the family that use it. And they also cause more trouble, especially to the community where their products are there in abundance and are being sold across the community. Then what are the things that exist in the community that seems to promote drug trafficking in Africa? Africa have so many, two major factors that seems to promote this. These are usually the topography of Africa itself, where there are major landforms like plateau, mountain rivers, rainforest, lakes. Most of these places are ungoverned by the African government. And because they are ungoverned, they serve as fertile lands that promote the trafficking of this drug from the addiction industry. And by doing that, that makes the traffic easier for them and also make the use to be domiciled to be available before they are also forced transshipped to other parts of the world. And another factor that also promoted is the population factor. We all know that Africa is about close to 20% of the world population. And this shows that there is a large or huge market for Africans in this, for this addiction industry to have people to use their product. So with this human factor, that makes them to be easily targeted. And unfortunately, the government's approach that are also being weakened by corruption, by the greed and the poverty among some of the government officials too. The business people that see it as their own business, which is illegitimate, but they are pushing for it. And also the weakness of the law enforcement agencies. The weakness of law enforcement agencies that are also contributing to this harm that we are seeing from them. So this helps to put in perspective the three major factors that aim or boosted the availability or the trafficking of drug in Africa. My second slide is just supposed to show us how this drug moves, which we directly explained through the first slide. My third slide is to quickly go to the meat or the focus of what I'm supposed to discuss, which is the challenges of drug trafficking and use in Africa. One of the premises I want to produce before I talk about the 5 P's, which I'm trying to use to address these challenges, is that the premise that in the modern understanding of how to control crime globally, it has been realized that 1/3 of all the efforts that is needed to control crime are associated with drug of abuse. So that is alcohol and all other drugs of abuse. And by this understanding, so any effort by any government that want to reduce crime, that want to limit the growth in crime rate, then they need to take the problems, the challenges of drug trafficking and drug use in the region very seriously. So this premise will make me now go to those things that seems to be supporting and also abating or contributing to drug trafficking and use in Africa. One of the first is politics. Politics have contributed to rising crime rates in Africa. And because when people play politics, these are usually key into, and this promoted insurgencies in some part of Africa. This has also contributed to banditry challenges that we have, kidnapping situation, terrorist activity in Africa, and some wars in other parts of Africa. And the politics is not only limited to the grassroots or the local or the national. This also cut across internationally, and the role the international community play seems to also be contributing to these challenges that politics is contributing to increase in traffic drugs in Africa, and also make it when they pass through the region, their ability to be domiciled and contribute to its use. Another political factor that is also playing is the terms called the war on drugs. The war on drugs are being politicized. that people are now shouting that the work on drug has failed. But the work on drug can be understood to have various facets. One of the facets of understanding the war on drugs is what they call the war for drugs. And the war for drugs are being played politically through support, political support to government agencies all across the world. Because from the addiction industry, when the addiction industry support their political campaign, then they will find it difficult to pass serious legislation that is going to help to reduce the activities of this addiction industry. So the war on drugs is being played out for drugs, by fighting for drugs, by fighting for legalization of drugs, and by fighting for the trafficking of it, and by so fighting for the domiciliary of it, so that it can now be available legally and people can use. So this contributes a lot of challenge in politics. Another P that also serves as a challenge that help to promote drug trafficking and use in Africa are the policies. And because some of the policies do not necessarily meet up to the rise in the demand and supply of these products in our country. For instance, there is the concept of the dark web. And we know through the dark web, you can order for anything that you want to order for, and it will be delivered to the individual. So the concept of the dark web makes some of these substances to be easily be shipped from any part of the world to another part of the world. So this market, the government is not in control of it. The government does not understand it. And policies that be made are not being made to meet up with this aspect of the market. Because when policies are made that can meet up with it, this is going to help curtail the rise in supply of it and also the demand for it. And another thing that policy is also affecting are the legal challenges you are facing. Because in recent times, there will be a clamoring for legalization, which with legalization comes commercialization, and with commercialization comes normalization, and the normalization leads to celebration. And now there will be indirect accuse on the people that are using this drug, because often we come with the cliche that it is irresponsible drinkers that are to be blamed for the problem that have been caused by alcohol, for example. Whereas there are the people that drank a lot of alcohol that develop problem for it, but they are also the one being blamed by the addiction industry and their courts. So all these, through the legal challenges, this is causing more trouble. And what research have shown is that by relaxing access to one drug of abuse in any part of the community, it may inadvertently bring more consequential rise in consumption of all psychoactive substances. That's what research have found, and these are based on evidence. And if we don't take the legal challenges very seriously, it means we keep promoting the rise in drug trafficking and drug use in our community. So we need to get good policies that is going to help tackle this. Another challenge that is contributing to this is priorities that have been set by the government, the international community, our national and local community, our regional leaders, and also at individual and family level. The priority that was set. And based on this priority, this is making the traffic, drugs, and use the problem they are causing to be competing with the resources that is needed to produce social goods in the community. Because we need social goods in the community to grow. We need good roads. We need availability of internet, good high-functioning internet facility. We need good constant electricity supply and all those things. These are social goods that will become prioritized. But when the traffickers are coming with their heavy weaponry, with their support for banditry, with their promotion of insurgencies and terrorism, then this changes the priority of the government to try to tackle the other devils, that are red devils that are coming there and showing themselves. And with that, the resources that will be made to contribute to the community wellness, the community growth, and the community well-being have to be channeled. So this changes the priority for the government. And also, another priority that is being affected is what we call the weaponizing of the cancel culture on the silent media, because we know from statistics, majority of the world population are not using substance of abuse. But this is being challenged and they are now being targeted, they are now being cancelled in the psychology of it. Instead of through the concept of wokeness, they are now being cancelled so that they should just keep quiet and let people who are using and just be let free. We are not saying people should be jailed. We are not saying people should be penalized, but we say people need treatment. And people are not using should also be given their priority that they don't want to use. They want to live drug-free life. They should also be promoted. They should not be cancelled. They should not be silent. And these are some of the things that's challenging the priority that we need to set for ourselves. Because in these days, when people try to talk that my priority is not to use drug, I'm okay with by me not using drug of abuse, the cancel culture, the wokeness culture come in and started attacking the individual. So this kind of weaponizing, the weaponry is affecting priority that people set for themselves, their community, their society, and at the larger level. Another thing that is also affecting is prosperity of individual, family, and the community. Because when traffic drugs pass through, this leads to a rise in economic hardship. For instance, there have been several times that people that grow cannabis locally in the African sub-regions that grow it. The people that grow it, when they are asked, why do you plant food crops that people need, that they need to feed, to have
It looks like the network, we are having poor reception. Doctor, can you hear us? Dr. Biola, can you hear us?
hello, I hope I can be heard.
Okay. I think
Hello.
for the interest of time, you can quickly come to conclusion so that at least we also have time to ask questions from the participants. Thank you.
Okay, based on this, let me just come to my last slide, my second to the last slide. My last slide is that
Thank you.
What can we do to reduce the impact of drug trafficking and use in Africa? Part of what we can do is to offer treatment and rehabilitation opportunities from people who have been shattered by this. We should remember, from blogging classes, something extraordinary can come.
It looks like the network is being unfair on us when it comes to your presentation.
People who are there will still not have access to this drug of abuse when they are trafficked through their community. And we'll also try to become voices for the silent majority in the world that have been affected, because without doing that, this is going to lead to more catastrophe in the community, and there will be a rise in crime rate. And our policy should be broad, balanced, and they must be guided by the concept of prevent, don't promote, as being championed by Drug Policy Future and the International Federation of Good Christians. We need to support this and we need to promote it. And we need to see that our drug policies are doing this to prevent and don't promote drug trafficking.
Doctor, allow me to cut you from this point. Key points have been highlighted by Dr. Biola when it comes to drug trafficking, mental health issues. I think we have heard
And
what...
we should also always remember to provide alternative to drug use and abuse so that we can defend drug-free community and programs and promotion. I would say thank you for allowing me to spend my time to do this presentation. I appreciate being called upon, and I look forward to the question and answer session. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Biola, for the fine presentation with key points that you have highlighted when it comes to mental health, drug trafficking, and other areas that you have highlighted, which we will discuss during Q&A from our audience. Right now, allow me to move on to Turkey. Mr. Toge has been so patient with us, waiting since 2 o'clock. My apologies for waiting for such a long time. Allow me to welcome Mr. Toga. Mr. Toga, good evening, and my sincere apologies for the delay. The floor is yours. Before I give you the floor, allow me to give a brief introduction about Mr. Tolga Ag. He's a psychologist, graduated from Maytu Northern University in guidance and psychological counseling program. He is currently working for Turkey Green Crescent, working with youth in advocacy programs and counseling. Allow me to welcome together with you guys, Mr. Tolga. Mr. Tolga, the floor is yours. Over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can I get the host youth authorization, please, to share my screen?
Technical team, can you kindly take the action for what has been requested?
I'm waiting.
Technical team, are you do something? Can you wave your hand for me to see? Thank you. Mr. Tolga, they are working on it. Sorry about the delay.
Okay.
Okay.
No, nothing. No problem. First of all, I'd like to thank you for this organization. Hello, everyone. My name is Tolga. As stated, I'm working at the Green Crescent under the Training Management Department as an educator, and I got the host authorization right now. No, can I get again? Okay, anyway.
So sorry about that. You know, at times, you know, these technology issues, they play us, but
no
they are
problem.
good, but at times they tend to be difficult, but it will be well. Thank you. You can go ahead.
Okay, I will move right now. Maybe you can give me later. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all well. My name is Tolga, and I'm working at Green Crescent under the Education Management Department as an educator. And for today, I'm going to explain our well-known and widespread program, which is called as Addiction Prevention Program of Turkish Green Crescent. And in this presentation, I will refer our program as TBM, and also I am going to explain some experience sharing and success stories on drugs, tobacco, technology, alcohol, and gambling. Can I share my screen right now, technical team?
Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I will move verbally right now. It is no problem. And when we say prevention programs, actually, it has some flaw about it. You may think our prevention programs as a triangle, and on the ground floor, you will see our Green Crescent Addiction Prevention Training Program, which is called as TBM. And the main purpose of this program is to increase the awareness about the different kinds of the addictions. Why it is important? Because we believe that knowledge is power. And when you get enough information about the different kinds of addiction, you can protect yourself as well as your loved ones. And the second important and crucial advantage of this program is that we reach more than 10 million students in a year with this TBM program. So we detect the students who need special help, and we refer to, after we detect these students, we refer to mental health profession. Because of it, on the awareness base, it is really effective program. And when I come to the second floor, we will move to the Green Crescent's life skills training programs. And why life skills is important? Because of that, sometimes I would like to give an example about it. Sometimes it may be difficult for us to say no to other people when they are offering the substance to us. Why? Because an individual doesn't say no to them, they may think that they will exclude their social group, social interaction, and because of it, they may feel loneliness and they may feel helpless. To overcome this, we should teach them some life skills such as saying no, stress management, anxiety management, and so on. And in this way, an individual can say no with a high self-esteem, enhanced self-esteem, as well as they can also find some alternative social groups in this way, and they can easily say no to the other people. Because of it, we can say that life skills can enhance the self-esteem and self-concepts of individual. And in this way, people will be more confident saying no when a substance has offered to them. However, and when we come to the third level, third ground at the top, you will see our school-based intervention program as called as OBM in Turkey. Why it is important? I would like to give an example again. Let's say a student smoke in a school environment and we would like to intervene the situation. While a student is getting intervention sessions in a school environment, we also would like to include them to the social group settings. So we don't like to separate these students their schools. We don't want to exclude them their social inclusion and their friends. So with this program, school-based intervention program, while we are making intervention sessions with the students by the school counselor, we also include them their social settings in the school. We include them the school settings and their academic achievements, not to exclude them from their schools and promote the loneliness from them. Can I get the share screen right now? Is it possible, technical team? If you give me the host authorization, it will be great. Okay, I will continue. Maybe you can give me later. Why TBM, Green Crescent Addiction Prevention Training Program is effective, and what are the main characteristics of the program? TBM program helps us to use common terminology in combating addictions on nationwide. Why is it important? Because our practitioners may not have deep knowledge about the addiction, or they may not be expert in this field, completing postgraduate or with the different contents explanation. In this way, all of the age groups can understand the concepts much more concrete and easy way. And another issue is you can you can reach all of our materials on our website, www.tbm.org.tr, and you can reach all of our materials. And also our materials has included the animations, stories, activities, songs, box card games, and brochures. Why it is important? Because we would like to integrate the theoretical knowledge with the practical experiences. Because of this, we designed and update our materials with a more interactive way. And if I would show you my presentation, I will show you the materials as well. And our materials includes practitioner handbooks, presentation, workbooks, storybooks, and participant books. And thanks to our stakeholders, such as governmental partners, communities, private sectors, media, NGOs, we reach as we reach to other people throughout the Turkey. Now, I will move to the feedbacks part. And the first feedbacks comes from the practitioner from Bursa. And our participant has concluded that after the end of the education, he realized that he was very worried about his life about his father's life due to his smoking addiction. And after the education, he consulted to his school counselor, and getting some information about the smoking addiction, he convinced his father to quit smoking by saying he doesn't want you to die. Why? Because sometimes when you share your feelings, when you share your thoughts to your family members, it may be effective. And in this example, a student explained his feelings and thoughts to his father, and then his father quit the smoking. And another feedback comes from the Istanbul. A female student who has asthma and smokes shared that she was convinced to quit smoking when she saw the substances in the cigarette. As you know, there are more than 3,000 substances in a cigarette, and a consumer may not be aware of that consequences of the smoking. And thanks to our TBM materials, they can understand the substances, ingredients, the consequences, dynamics, and after that, they will prone to quit the smoking behavior. And another feedback is about the family relationship. And there is a story of a father and child relationships. A father with technology and game addiction who attended the seminar with the support of his wife stated that he benefited a lot from the seminar. And after a father has realized his gaming addiction, he decided to be role model for their children. And the problem completely solved with the training and suggestion given. And another and last feedback comes from the Kahramanmaraş, the city of Turkey. After we give them Green Crescent brochures, they state that they used to smoke before, but they would not try again in order not to harm the environment, because smoking behavior has also some severe consequences about the environment, right? Because of it, they decide to quit, and they state that they would volunteer in anti-tobacco activities at school settings. As I conclude, our TBM program has well-structured, and we also continue the trainings throughout the year with the supervision and some updates. We also get feedbacks from all our partners and stakeholders, and this is much more related with the assessment part actually. And we would like to reach our local capacity in highest level. Because of it, we try to increase our practitioner, we try to increase our master trainers, and we try to update our materials according to new developments and improvements. As a conclusion, what is effective local cooperation networks comes from the Green Crescent branches, youth clubs, our counseling centers, our stakeholders such as ministries, local partners, and volunteers. In this way, we reach more than 10 million students, and we will continue to combat with the addictions in this process. Thank you.
Wonderful presentation, Mr. Tolga. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, all the participants, for listening. Allow me to start with Mr. Tolga for questions or comments that you might be having. Allow me to take one question because of our time. Anyone with a question directed to Mr. Tolga?
Sure.
I think there is no question from the participants directed to Mr. Tolga. I will quickly ask you, okay, all right, there is one question. Can you quickly pass the mic?
Right? I'm waiting for a question. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I saw.
Yes.
Murakoze, nitwa Ishimwe Naomi, naturutse i Nyamirambo, nkaba naturutse mu itsinda ndazanye na bagenzi banjye, tukaba dufite ikibazo cy'abakobwa babyariye iwabo batoya, bakaba baragize ihungabana ku munoza, ihungabana ryo mu bitekerezo, bakumva bafite ubwigunge. Ese mwabafasha iki kugira ngo nabo bagire aho bikura bigeze? Twari twarakoze umushinga wo kudoda kugira ngo tube twihuriza hamwe tugire icyo dukora kugira ngo babandi bafite ubwigunge babone bari kumwe na bagenzi babo bumve bishimye ntibigunge. Hari wenda mwadubufasha twaba twatangira kubahuriza hamwe ko twagiye tubona bakeya. Ese muri bwe icyo mwadufasha kugira ngo tube twabona n'abandi batwiyungeho bumve ko nabo bava mu bwigunge bakagira aho bigeza, mukaba mwafashe n'abahuye n'ubwo burwayi bari muri twebwe kubavura. Tuzazo nongera mbabaze murakoze.
Thank you for the question. Mr. Tolga, worry not. The question was not directed to you. She's actually referring to ASPEC here for social economic supports for their group. So it was not directed to you. My quick question for the benefit of those also that are here is on technology addiction. In Turkey, what has been your success story when it comes to technology addiction? How are you keeping that situation when it comes to young people? Thank you.
So what is the success stories on technology addiction, right?
Yes, yes.
After this, one of our education, a father come to me and he asked to me, how can I make cooperation with my child and reduce his or her technology addiction? And I said them, you can talk about the technology with him. You can talk about the social media. You can talk about the games, and you can make some suggestions after them. Because if you give some suggestion as a father role, as a father role, it will be not beneficial. So I stayed that, and after that, 1 week later, he came to me and he said that I established a cooperation with my child, talking about the social media, talking about the technology, and talking about the games. And after that, he said that we made a cooperation, we made an agreement with him, and they decided to limit to the 2 hours. So, as a father's perspective, probably he will give a suggestion as you will not play any game, you will not use social media. But I tried to realize that father that this is not effective. Giving suggestion can only make with cooperation, and after that they made an agreement about that, and the child achieved the time management, and they restricted their technology use up to 6 hours to 2 hours. And I think this can be success stories
Thank
about
you.
the technology.
Thank you, Mr. Tolga, for the response. I think we have seen from his response that parental guidance is very key, and listening to kids is also very key. As a mother, as a father, or maybe as a big brother, big sister. So there has to be a relationship for adults and kids, so that at least they are not defensive or hide or shy or avoid opening up on matters when it comes to technology issue. So let's open up, and I think here in Rwanda we also need more lessons or trainings on parental guidance when it comes to issues of addiction for the benefit of for young ones and also for the parents. Thank you so much, Mr. Tolga. I think for now we are done with your presentation. It was so nice hearing and seeing your presentation. You did so well. Murakoze cyane. That is what we say here when we are saying thank you. So thank you so much, Mr. Tolga. Back to participants, do you have any question for Ms. Liron, the one who presented from Israel? Any questions? Any question for Dr. Abiola from Nigeria? No question. No, it's not related. I know, we'll come back to you. If there are no questions, allow me to thank Ms. Liron because of our time, and Dr. Abiola. Ms. Liron, thank you so much for your time. We have learned a lot of what you're doing with Ministry of Health in Israel. With Enosh, the collaboration is actually mitigating challenges when it comes to mental health, and also the emergencies that you did during the COVID-19 that assisted most of the people in Israel. I think we have learned a lot. To health practitioners who are here who may need the presentations for your information, feel free to contact us. We will be in a position to share what we are receiving from other countries with you. Dr. Abiola, there is no question as well. Guess, is there any question? It looks like there is no question again. Dr. Abiola talked about the drug trafficking, issues to do with technology, addiction and mental health, how they are fighting it in Nigeria, the challenges that they are having, and I think we have heard, we have learned things that we were listening to. Lastly, I'll go now to my best friend, Dr. Nagijuman. Back to you, Doctor. Any question for our good doctor here regarding the presentation which he gave in our vernacular language in Kinyarwanda. Ibibazo. Back to Dr. Ndagijimana, you can take over.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Kuko hashize akanya kugira ngo twibutse abashobora kuba babyibagiwe kugora usubiyemo ikibazo wabajije mu kanya.
narimbajije ngo abakobwa babyariye mu rugo bakaba barihurije hamwe bagakora itsinda kugira ngo bivane mu bwigunge bagire icyo bakora kibateza imbere, hakaba harimo abahuye n'ihungabana ryo mu mutwe kubera gufatwa ku ngufu bakiri batoya bakaba barishiye mu biyobyabwenge. Ese ni iki mwabafasha kugira ngo bavurwe, mukaba mwakorera ubuvugizi n'abatari bamenya iryo tsinda bakaba baza bashingiye ariko ku byo babona bagenzi babo bagezeho mukabafasha?
Murakoze cyane. Hari ikiganiro kindi kiri buze kubaho kiri buze kuganira kuri icyo kintu cyane. The question is, as we speak about issues related to mental health, drug abuse, addiction, and gender-based violence, sexual abuses that also may result from that complexities of the issues. We have young girls who are here who had babies when they were still young, and they created a group, community for them to kind of support each other, but also they feel like they need support from agencies, people who are here, and they also saying that part of these is that some, as a coping mechanisms, some used drug abusers or alcohol, kind of to numb their feelings, which also they discussed about the impact on their mental health. So is there support? Are there people here or the people you may know that will be willing to support a community like hers? So we will have another panel discussion that will focus on that, part of that. Ariko igisubizo nshaka kuvuga cya mbere nuko kimwe nuko uburyo bwo amahirwe abaye nk'aha ngaha ni uburyo bwo kugira ngo cyagiye iyo bashyizeho akanya cyo kuvuga ngo ni igihe cyo kuganira, ni igihe cyo kugira ngo ni networking, ni n'uburyo bwo kugira ngo wa muntu uvuga uti hari abantu bafite ama NGOs hano, hari abantu bafite ama companies hano, bafite ama grants yo gukora ibikorwa nk'ibyo. Aya ni n'amahirwe yo kugira ngo habeho guhuza abakeneye ubufasha runaka n'ibigo bibutanga. Bityo muri cya gihe nk'igihe dusoza ni n'amahirwe yo kugira ngo wegere kimwe umuntu runaka umubaza uti sari koko dufite uyu mushinga mwatuyobora dute, kwegera muri bamwe wagiye wumva bavuga. Uko niko networking ifasha mu kugira ngo n'imishinga nk'iyo ngibe yafasha. Rimwe na rimwe wenda ukaba ushobora no gusura n'ibi bigo byagiye bivugwa hano, hari abatanze ibiganiro hano bavuga uko. Mushobora rero kureba muti ese umushinga mufite mwawujyana mu kigo runaka gisanzwe, cyangwa mwafashwa gukora uwo mushinga wanyu ukaba umuryango wihariye w'ubwawo kandi ugahabwa inkunga. Ibyo rero mukeneye abantu babagira inama, babafasha, bashobora kuba bimazemo igihe. One answer is that this opportunity for networking, if you are supporting or if you have an organization or the community that you know, an organization that you know that supports vulnerable communities such as these, please, this is also the networking space. Like I think we will have an opportunity after these presentations. I would love it to see people connecting and sharing, like this is what we have and this is what we need. And maybe we find some middle grounds, and I think group and the needs make sense. I hope they will get the support they deserve. Murakoze, turabuze kugira undi mwanya wo kuganira kuri icyo kintu, ariko nicyo naba mvuze muri rusange. Hari undi waba afite ikindi kibazo ku bijyanye n'ubuzima bwo mu mutwe ku rubyiruko? Yego, baguha mikoro.
Thank you. My name is Pacifique Dusengimana. I'm a delegate from Restoration Church. I'm also a counseling student, and I work with an organization called Purpose Rwanda to fight against drug addictions and delinquency. Maybe I'll ask one of my questions in Kinyarwanda because we presented in Kinyarwanda, and then I'll continue. Nagerageje kureba kuri website yanyu ndeba ibiciro bijyanye na service mutanga, mbona urubyiruko mwaruvanyemo kubera ko nabonye bihenze cyane, aho session imwe ishobora gutwara ibihumbi 70 by'amanyarwanda, like a family session can goes up to 8,100 francs. Nkibaza ubwo services zijyanye n'ibibazo by'uburwayi bwo mu mutwe cyane cyane ko muri iki gihe biri affecting urubyiruko cyane, kandi tubona byafashe intera yo hejuru. Ubwo nka solid minds mu bitekerezaho iki ku icyo kibazo? Ikindi nahita mbikomeza n'ibitekerezo nashaka gutanga, kuko sinzi ko ndaza ko undi mwanya wo kubitanga. Hari ikijyanye na technology addiction. Usanga mu by'ukuri urebye igihe habayeho nka outbreak y'iyi technology ni mu myaka itarenze 10 ishize. Rero nk'urubyiruko, si urubyiruko gusa, n'abandi twahindutse nka Guinea pigs. Sinzi Guinea pigs nimba tucyumva, twese ni nk'imbeba zikoreshwaho experiment muri laboratories igihe hari kuvumburwa nk'ikintu. Rero iyo technology yaraje twikubitaho, mu by'ukuri mu kuyishyira hanze ntihabanje kurebaho harmful effects yagira n'uburyo iteye n'uburyo iri designed. Abayikoze bayidesigninze mu buryo itera addiction, kandi addiction ni ituma bunguka kubera ko you're addicted, ukoresha tokens every time you take your phone and you click, bo barunguka. Rero mu buryo navuga hakabaye habaho icyo nakwita wenda nka inyigo effective use of technology, ndetse hakabaho na mentorship ku bantu mu buryo bwo gukoresha technology cyane cyane ku bana bato n'urubyiruko. Hakaba byakorwa bagasurwa abana mu mashuri na hehe ma centers abahuza, bakigishwa uburyo bakoresha technology mu buryo bafitiye umumaro, ariko bitabafectinze mu buryo bahinduka addictive. Ikindi navuga ni kuri iki kintu cya gambling na gaming. Usanga mu by'ukuri nubwo tubirwanya cyangwa se hari uburyo bwo kubirwanya, ariko n'ubundi zigenda zibaho nyinshi. Usanga imikino y'amahirwe n'ibindi nk'ibyo biri byinshi, nta hantu muri quartier udashobora gusangamo ibi bintu. Rero nimba hari government officials bari hano na addressing icyo kibazo kuri bo, bakadusobanurira uburyo tubirwanya, ariko n'ubundi bihabwa umwanya hano muri gihugu, bikaba binagenda byiyongera cyane, kuko uko umuntu agiyeyo akabetinga rimwe asubirayo nejo bundi. Ikindi nagira ngo mvugeho gatoya kuri ni mu buryo bwo kudecentraliza. Hari muri center z'urubyiruko hakaba habaho n'umukansala, kubera ko usanga mu by'ukuri iyi service za counseling kenshi urubyiruko rutayigeraho, bigatera yuko usanga umurubyiruko iyo agize ikibazo agenda agasanga mugenzi we cyangwa se umuntu uyobora itsinda rimwe abayemo agahinduka umukansela, yahinduka umukansela rimwe na rimwe ko adafite ubumenyi kuri counseling, ugasanga ateje ikibazo uwo mwana kurusha icyo yazanye. Usanga kenshi abantu benshi mu local community, muri churches n'ahandi, umuntu ufite ikintu ayobora yitwara nk'umukansela kandi adafite ubwo bumenyi bwa counseling. Murakoze.
Murakoze cyane. The first question was about the organization I work for, Solid Minds, and it was about pricing. He discussed about the price for therapeutic session being, for him in his word, is does not allow the youth to afford the cost for counseling. The second question was about the internet addiction issues. The third was gambling. And fourth was issues of community leaders also praying a lot of counselors without training. They're not trained to be counselors, but once one is a community leader, they are considered automatically counselors, and that can be harmful to, especially to vulnerable communities they represent. And he wanted to know how that is being addressed, as he said, it's a concerning issue. So first, with the Solid Minds question, ntabwo ndi busubize mu muri management ya Solid Minds, ntabwo ndumwe mu bayobora Solid Minds, ndagusubiza nk'umwe mu bakozi ba Solid Minds, ariko ndibuze no gusasira icyo gisubizo. Iyo umuntu arwaye indi ndwara yose, hari ibindi bitaro tujyamo, twarwaye, ariko iyo tugezeyo tukavuga tuti bakatubwira ngo igiciro ni iki ngiki, akenshi ntabwo tuvuga ngo hoya reka nsubire inyuma, ntabwo amafaranga ni menshi, ntabwo nenda kuvurwa. Icyo nshaka kuvuga ngo nk'uko umuntu avuga ati iki giciro ni kirekire, ugiye kwa muganga handi mu zindi ndwara, bivuze ko ubuzima bwo mu mutwe nyaboneka bibe n'impamvu igihugu niba ari kirekire, n'izindi ndwara niziba wayirwaye nabwo ujye uvuga uti iki giciro ni kirekire. Ni ukuvuga ngo ntabwo ari kirekire gusa kuri ubuzima bwo mu mutwe, birashoboka yuko uvuze atyo cyangwa uri aho, iyo agiye no ku bundi buvuzi asanga icyo giciro, kuko ushobora gusanga ikindi giciro aho ujya n'ahandi mu zindi ndwara, ushobora gusanga icyo giciro nacyo kiri hejuru, nk'iyo ugiye muri bimwe mu bitaro cyangwa se amakiliniki utekereje mu mutwe ashobora kuba afite igiciro kiri hejuru. Ariko sinshigikiye yuko urubyiruko cyangwa se n'undi wese atabasha kubona ubwo bufasha kubera ko atabashije kwishyura. Kimwe nanone nshaka kuvuga mu gusasira igisubizo cyanjye nuko tubayeho mu buzima cyangwa se mu mico yacu yuko ikintu niba ari igikomere nta nubwo binoroshya rega kwishyuza. Kuba umuntu akubwira ati ndarwaye, ndarembye ku mutima, wenda gushenguka, rimwe na rimwe uje gushaka ubwo bufasha, dufate nk'abantu babajije ibibazo bishingiye ku mikoro, nuhindukira ukamubwira uti aje kugutubura ikibazo, ugahindukira ngo ngaho nyishyura, urabona biri bworohe. Nubwo nagusaba munsi yayo ngayo, ni ibintu maze mu imyaka myinshi nkora, nubwo nagusaba kwishyura amafaranga ari munsi yayo ngayo, birashoboka yuko utagiye kuyishyura. Rimwe na rimwe haruguza uri kuvuga ati ikibazo mfite ni ubukene, ikibazo mfite nuko nakoze nkaba ndafite akazi, ndashaka kunyobora uko nakora umushinga. Biragoye kugira ngo umuntu mubwire ngo ngaho nyishyura. Icyo kibazo rero kuba ukivuze, ntabwo ikibazo ari uko gusa igiciro kiri hejuru, ahubwo byo ubwabyo kwishyuza kiracyari ikibazo. Ariko nanone Solid Minds ntabwo imaze igihe kirekire cyane. Ntekereza yuko hari uko yatangiye, hari aho igeze, ntekereza yuko mu myumvire yanjye nk'umukozi wayo nuko bishoboka yuko ishobora kuzagenda inagura ishyiraho n'ibikorwa runaka bishobora korohereza abadafite ubwo bushobozi kuba babona ubufasha buturutse muri iyi counseling clinic. Ariko ntabwo mbihamije, ndabivuga nk'umukozi, ariko ntekereza yuko ari ibintu bishoboka cyane kuko Solid Minds iracyakura ugereranije n'igihe imaze. Ngira ngo nicyo ngicyo naba ngusubije, ariko nanone mu gihe tunavuga n'ibiciro nuko abantu ni byiza yuko ibigo bitanga ubwishingizi byishingira n'ubuzima bwo mu mutwe nk'ubundi buzima. Ibyo bigo byihari byigenga nk'uko byishingira izindi ndwara, nabyo bikwiriye gushishikarizwa cyangwa se n'ababifasha kugera kuri iyo ntambwe gutangira kwishingira ubuzima, ibikomere byo ku mutima, wajya kwa muganga nabyo bikaba ushobora gutanga ikarita yawe y'ubwishingizi bwo kwivuza, bukaba wayivurirwaho ukavuga uti ngifite iki gikomere nyabuneka nimumfashe, kandi ubwishingizi bukaba bushobora kuba bwabigufashamo. Ibyo bishobora kuzadufasha, bikaba kwa kundi urembye ufite iyi karita ntarembera mu rugo, na za zindi za prive nazo nizibidufashemo nkuko ntekereza ku masantere de sante byaratangiye ahari. Ku kibazo cya addiction kuri internet, ngira ngo sinzi niba cyari ikibazo, ariko yego ku internet addiction ni ikibazo gikomeye. Nubona utangiye, kimwe kizakubwira yuko burya ikibazo cyazambye nuko uzabona wari usigaye ukoresha amasaha 2 ukumva uranyuzwe kuri internet. Ni na addiction iyo ari yo yose, addiction iyo ari yo yose, kugira ngo umenye burya ko byatangiye kuba ikibazo, ko byatangiye kukubera ikibazo, byaba ari ibisindisha, byaba ari ibinyobwa, byaba ari internet, byaba ari imibonano mpuzabitsina, byaba ari ibyo byose, kugira ngo bimenye nuko uri ku kigero aho ukenera, uragenda ukenera quantity ruta iyo wakoresheje ubushize. Uragenda ukenera amasaha menshi kuri internet, kuri Instagram, kuri Twitter, kuri Facebook, urakenera amasaha menshi ugereranije nayo wari usanzwe ukenera. Uko iminsi igenda yicuma, uragenda ukenera inzoga nyinshi gusumba izo wanywaga ubushize. Uko iminsi igenda yicuma, ntabwo y'amacupa 2 y'amacupa 5 ya kese iki gituma wumva utuje, ahubwo urakenera izindi ziyongere. Buryo ugenda ukenera ibyiyongere, menya yuko byatangiye kudogera, shaka ubufasha. Ikindi wari wabajije, ngira ngo gambling nayo nuko nguko, ntekereza yuko birakenewe yuko inzego zibishinzwe ibiryabarezi zikaba babireberera bakamenya bati, ntabwo ngiye kuvuga ngo abarezi, ariko byitwa ibiryabarezi niko nabyumvise. Inzego zibireba ntekereza ko zihari zibireba zitekurebera. Hari abantu b'abanyantege nke rwose kugira ngo baterere hariya ngo nguyu umupira ni mukine, birasenya imiryango, birasenya ingo, birasenya imibanire, birasenya iterambere ry'umuntu. Ni ukumenya rero uko hafashwa abo bantu mu kubikumira, hashyirwaho uburyo butuma bikumira kugira ngo abanyantege nke batagwa muri uwo mwobo, kuko ari ushobora kubikora ntibigire icyo bimutwara, ariko yareba nabi akagwa. Ariko hari n'abafite intege nke ku buryo rwose ari ibintu bakwiye kuba barindwa. Ngira ngo nagerageje kugusubiza. Do you still have time to take? I can take more question or not? Yeah, go.
Arakoze, ntabwo ari ikibazo, ni umunota umwe kugira ngo mvuge ku kibazo yarabajije. Uriya musore avuga nti yabajije ikibazo cyiza, ikibazo cy'isanamitima cya counseling cyane cyane mu rubyiruko, aho usanga hari abagaragaza ikibazo cy'ihungabana cyane ikibazo cyo mu mutwe, imyitwarire. bakaba bashaka ubufasha mu rubyiruko wenda bafite ubushobozi buri hasi. Icyo avuze nicyo Solid Mind yakoze, ibo barakora as professionals, babyigiye babifitiye ubushobozi, kandi mu buryo ushobora kujyayo nyine bamuha serivisi ijyanye n'ubwo bushobozi buhanitse ndetse yishurwa. Ariko icyo nongeraho n'ubundi nuko ntabwo bikuraho yuko n'ubundi nk'abanyarwanda hari ubundi buryo bushobora gukoreshwa badakoresheje professionals, kandi nabwo bugafasha. Buriya buryo twita community based healing spaces, aho usanga bashobora gufata abantu batize wenda bari aba psychologist cyangwa psychiatrist, abaturage, nimvuga abaturage ntabwo ari ukuvuga ngo ni umuntu utarize, abantu bari aho batuye hamwe bakaba babahugura, bakabaha ubumenyi bw'ibanze bwo gufasha abantu bagaragaza ibimenyetso by'ihungabana cyangwa ibindi bibazo by'imyitwarire. Ayo matsinda ari communautaire atanga umusaruro kandi agafasha mu by'ukuri mu buryo ibibazo d'ordre psychologique by'ihungabana akenshi bishobora no gukemukira aho ngaho. Ibinaniranye akaba ari byo bikenera wenda transfer, nk'uko n'ubundi transfer zikorwa ahandi hose, bakaba bakohereza wenda bafite severe cases bakaba bajya kuri Solid Mind n'ahandi bakabakurikirana, ariko usanga ibibazo bimwe bishobora gukemukira muri ayo matsinda. Icyo wenda atinze wenda nuko nk'uko turi hano muri hano nk'urubyiruko muri iyi nama, ngira ngo ni n'uburyo bwo gukora awareness. Twahoze tuvuga yuko abantu bitabira service zijyanye n'ubuzima bwo mu mutwe umubare uracyari hasi, kuko akenshi n'ubundi ni umucyo, hari n'abagira ibyo bibazo bakaba batekereza ko ari amarozi, ari iki n'ibindi ni ya myumvire. Ariko nk'uko turi hano mu rubyiruko rwize, ni byiza yuko iyo myumvire igenda ihinduka gahoro gahoro, ariko nanone muri cadre turimo dukoreramo hano mugaragaje nk'icyo kibazo yuko wenda ayo matsinda d'ordre communautaire yashirwaho, hakaba hashakishwa uburyo hashirwaho ayo matsinda, abantu bagahugura muri urwo rubyiruko, bakaha ubumenyi bw'ibanze, mukaba mwakora ayo group counseling cyangwa community therapy groups. Ubwo nabwo ni uburyo bugenda bukemura kandi bukemura ibibazo, wenda bunagabanya abantu benshi bajya kwa muganga cyangwa mu gushakisha professionnel. Nubwo nico nagira ngo nongereho bijyanye wenda n'ibyo nari navuze ubushize, iri approche dukoresha ya social therapy cyangwa ya mvura nguvure, nubundi dutraininga abaturage tukabaha ubumenyi bw'ibanze, bakajya muri practice. Cases zinaniranye nizo zijya muri professional mental health cyangwa specialist. Ikindi nagira wenda natinze, hari umukobwa yigeze abaza avuga ni yabajije ikibazo cyiza avuga ku bijyanye n'abakobwa bagira ibyago bakabyara bakiri bato, cyane cyane biturutse ku bibazo by'amateka, rwa ruhererekane rw'ibibazo by'ihungabana rituruka ku babyeyi rikaba ryagera ku bana. N'ubundi iyo umubyeyi atagize amahirwe yo kugira ngo abone abamutega amatwi akire bya bikomere, agenda biraga n'ubundi abamukomokaho mu buryo bumwe cyangwa ubundi. Icyo yavuze rero, abo bagize bahuye n'ibyo bibazo abakobwa babyariye iwabo, ndetse hakorwa iki? Icyo numva nuko iyi cadre nk'uko babivuze, wenda nta bisubizo dufite ushobora kuvuga ngo turakora gutya, ariko icyiza nuko abantu bava muri iyo isolation, bakaba bagaragaza ikibazo uko giteye, mu buryo ngira ngo nituva hano n'ubundi iyo networking irakomeza ibeho, haba Rwanda Youth Impact ndetse na Prison Fellowship, mu buryo bwaguse, abantu batekereza wenda n'izo intervention communautaire zishobora kuzagenda ziza bitewe n'uburyo ki gahunda zagenda zishirwaho. Ariko icy'ingenzi nuko ikibazo kigaragaye zakomeza kugenda mukitumenyesha, n'ubwo buryo turimo dutekereza ko empoweringa za groupe nk'izo bikaba byatwenspira wenda no mu buryo bwaguse turimo dutekerezaho bwo kuzagenda dutekereza kuri porogaramu zishobora kugenda zunganira abantu. nicyo nagira ngo nongere
murakoze
murakoze.
cyane murakoze cyane. Yes, therapy, community healing. So when talking about healing and the healthcare or mental health care providers, first, mental health care providers, we need to understand that it is not something just for professional counselors. Community-based approaches are as important as the clinical approaches. Second, the healing settings are not just those spaces and the house, a beautiful couch and doctors and nurses and counselors, therapists in the office, but those spaces, community spaces where people share authentic feelings with each other, with mutual trust, those spaces are therapeutic as well. Ndashimiye yuko igisubizo yaguhaye ntabwo ndi buze kugira icyo nongeraho. Ubufasha mushobora kububonera muri iyo miryango ya mukorana, mushobora no gusaba ubufasha. Urugero zamuvuze muti dufite umuryango twubatse community tubana, ese Solid Minds mwadutiza umuntu akaza kuduha ikiganiro, urugero akaza kutwigisha uko twavurana ibikomere. Ndabizi yuko Solid Minds itabyanga, kandi ntekereza bitaba binari ngombwa ko kibanza ku, ntabwo ndi buyivugire ku biciro, ariko ntekereza ko itabagora mu bijyanye no kuba yabafasha. Ubwo ntekereza yuko muzayisure mubaze uko yabafasha. Yego.
I'm so sorry, guys, because of our time, we will not be in a position to take more questions. Allow us to interact, network after this session, because we still have another session which is to come, and the speakers are already waiting. We are almost 30 minutes late, so kindly bear with us. We are not refusing your questions, but soon after the last session, can we network, can we interact? Feel free, we are not rushing anyway, but the guys that are waiting to present also, we are not doing them any favor anymore. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry to those that are following online. They had questions, but we'll address those questions through RBC and the Ministry of Health. I see some of the issues concerning putting up of places of more drinking zones in Rwanda, so we'll actually be addressing those issues with the government. We'll put them through RBC.